Hello everyone, my name is Derailious, and today we're going to be doing a Rift Mountaintop live reaction. I have the video in front of me. We're not going to do any long, crazy segment. We're going to get right into this. We're just going to be going over the video, everything that's going to be entailed within the Rift, and I think I can frame by frame through this. I forget what buttons I actually have to use, but for now we'll just kind of do a watch through. I think the most notable thing, by the way, right out the gate, if I'm just going to start discussing, is how physically large they've turned the Mountaintop into. It's not going to be the normal size like you would expect in the hub. This just looks a little bit more imposing. I think that they've added quite a bit in terms of like segments and areas to this. There are a few things that they've done here, and obviously there are the floating islands pretty much everywhere. And this is from Barrier Street, that initial, shot. Something out the gate here, immediately I noticed. First of all, there's this cave over here with this woman guarding it. We can't really see her skin. She kind of looks like Madame Goldworth in the museum, but I don't think this is actually her. It just has a similar overall skin. There's this little hut here and a bunch of the little parkour areas that I'll go over more in a little bit. But that is kind of the first shot that they open up with. There's this tree, which I imagine has like an Enigma soul of some sort on there. If I had to guess, I think we see it later on. And we go all the way up to the top of the rift where the mountaintop is and where the breach is that's causing a bunch of chaos. They have the overall segment here where they just do an intro. It's you. It's just the player. I imagine you're going to want, if you're a player, by the way, you're going to want to have pretty much all of your rift gear upgraded before this drops. Like, the items that they're showing off are not early game items, they're not things that you get in the Wild Woods. You're going to need pretty much the end game stuff in order to do Mountaintop. Makes a lot of sense. This, by the way, isn't really anything new, so we're not really going to cover it. They're just going over, like, everything previously in the Rift that we have done thus far. But they are talking about the title of Wizard Man, which is seemingly the crux of what's going on here. I think that's just the lore story beat. From my understanding, how it's going to work is Wizard Man's been trying to clean up the breach, whatever, and we're sent to, also do that, and we're going to have to fight him for that title. I think the most notable thing in this shot specifically is right inside the mountaintop when you first get there. That's Oro. That is that looks the same as the guy in Dungeons, I believe. He looks very, very similar, for sure. That looks kind of like the guy that you see in Dungeons who gives you like that time buff of some sort. Moving right along, you see Oro there. He's just chilling. We have another Fleet Spook guy. This is just it just leads you to an Enigma Soul. That's not really anything too new. There's the eye, that you'll be able to teleport to. There's another, arrow puzzle, the darts that you can shoot. Nothing really too special here. This is the first piece of, like, new content. 3 different boxes, you can choose one of them. I imagine this is either some sort of, like, gambling mini game where you're able to gamble with motes. Maybe it's for a quest. I'm uncertain about, specifically what it's for, but it is interesting. Right there, I don't know if you just saw. Let me go back a moment. There's this character who I don't know who he is, but he has a diamond horse armor in his hand, and he's giving it to the player. The reason why I know that he's giving it to the player is because later on we see the player with this diamond horse armor. I don't think it's an item that we already have. I think this is going to be like a new item of some sort. I don't know what it does, but I don't think it's something that currently already exists. We see the player traversing. Obviously, they're using the new, what's it called? The aspect of the, what's it called? Am I like losing my mind? What's this thing called? Aspect of the leech? Is that what it is? I don't know. It's the one that allows you to like teleport a little bit. Anyway, he's on the moving platforms. This is like parkour. There's this very scantily clad gentleman. I don't even know why they showed this. This is really a PG audience sort of thing. I don't even know why he's on my screen. And he's guarding an Enigma Soul. This is very high up. As you can see on the bottom right, you can see the top part of the Wizard Tower. He's just kind of there. A new enemy. These are puffs. These are what I imagine the crux equivalent for the mountaintop is going to be. I'm also noticing this on the walls here. I wonder if this is going to be some sort of like ore or something like that. I could be totally wrong. That could just be decoration. I could be just coping, but I think it's pretty interesting. 100 HP, so keep that in mind. He's going to be a little bit tough to deal with. You'll notice that here is the Choose Me minigame again. One of these has already been picked, and it seems like it wasn't the answer because it has a big X over it. But now there's a dice of some sort. Kind of looks like a dice, but with just a 1 coming out of it on the left side, which is pretty notable. And there's this NPC, I believe, who's like walking in a scripted pattern. I don't know if this is some sort of like Gamba minigame sort of deal, but it definitely seems like it is relevant for sure. And actually, I guess I was right about that being some sort of like ore or some sort, because this is the same thing that we were looking at before on the wall, and the player is using that diamond horse armor thing to like melt, it seems like, this piece of ore on the wall. You can kind of see before, when we looked at it, right here, it was all this like light blue pane, and now over here, if I can get back to it, it's turned into this dark blue and purple. And that for sure looks like it's being melted off of the wall. So I may be right already. We'll just have to wait and see. It definitely seems to be that item that was given to the player earlier on. Another, just this we already kind of know. You can drop the anvils, get Enigma Soul, whatever. Nothing really too special here. I think it's notable that we get this brief shot real quick of like the player using the dart gun to shoot the like puffs. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, the helmet and the boots, by the way, seem to be new for the player here, unless I'm just completely wrong. Also, don't freak out about the fact that these are 1.20 textures. Hypixel tends to do these trailers in 1.20. That is not an indication that this update is in 1.20. So, don't worry too much about that. I do think it's notable, though, that the player is using the dart gun to shoot the puffs. Another thing with the fleet spook, that's not really a big deal. Here's Oro. You seem to be able to go inside of the guy, and this was a kind of a flash from multiple things. We get this initial screen of like a library of some sort, and then this clock tower with a separate enemy NPC here of some sort, or at least this guy. This seems to be the boss of the area. You're able to fight him. He can summon clones. He can make parts of the floor light up, as you can see with that beam attack. Definitely seems to be just standard Hypixel boss gameplay. I don't think this is going to be particularly hard, so, don't freak out about that too much. In terms of what else we got going on here, let's see. We have another shot of Goldsworth. This is definitely her. I don't think this is her in the red dress that she's normally wearing, and the reason why I know that is because Jade draws all of these characters, so I kind of know what their outfits look like. She has what looks like a puff as like a friend with her. Like, this one's just hanging out here. It's not really mean. And there's also the weird whatchamacallit guys from the Wild Woods here as well. So there definitely seems to be some callbacks to previous areas, and I think that's further shown in this next area inside the house at the top of the mountain. Notably, if you just saw that, that was a microcosm of the Mirrorverse, as you can see. So it seems like what this mountaintop area is at the very top when you're in that little mountain house is a microcosm of all the things that we've previously done in the Rift. See, here's a mini version of the Bacte arena, and he's fighting a mini Bacte. Here's a miniature of the Skyblock Citizen Time Charm area. So all of these areas that we've previously gone to are, coming back in some way, shape, or form. Now, we don't know in what capacity that is. This could just be like a stealth challenge of some sort. And next we move on to the more lore aspect of this place. If you aspire to take my place, referring to the Wizard Man, obviously, you have to beat him in combat of some sort. And the combat isn't really like actual combat, it's like parkour, as you can see here, and it's this Quad Link Legacy sort of thing. This looks like, what's that board game that you're able to play where you have to like lock off the opponent's side, where you like place like pieces on the board and it can like lock off a segment? It's not Connect 4. It's not that. It's something else entirely. I think it's an old Chinese or Japanese board game of some sort. It's not Connect 4. This is definitely not Connect 4, I don't think. Is it? I guess Quad Link. Yeah, it could be Connect 4. I was thinking of the other little game where you're able to go. It might be Go. Yeah, or Corridor or whatever it is. Anyway. Yeah, maybe this is Connect 4. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, almost certainly. I was thinking it was maybe Go, but yeah, Quad Link kind of implies Connect 4. I was just stupid. That's me. He's able to, like, drop off some of the platforms. You're going to have to parkour and be good at it. There was kind of an interesting thing going on. You're, like, flying through the air and shooting these, like, blasts at each other. I don't really have anything to say beyond that. You're fighting the guy. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, this is almost certainly a Connect 4 clone. So yeah, I was just stupid and wrong. I apologize for that. You're fighting him, whatever. You're doing a bunch of challenges, and you get to the end. One of us will eventually mend the rift, repair the breach, and then he says, I have faltered. You're probably our only, chance, whatever. And that's the Rift Mountaintop trailer for the most part. Now, if you want my initial thoughts, I think this looks pretty substantial in terms of new content, in terms of revisiting some of the old content in the Rift. Obviously, we're going to be getting our 8th Time Charm, we're going to be getting a new NPC, we're going to be getting a bunch of different things going on. I think this just looks like more Rift. Now, if you like the Rift, I think you'll be very happy about this. You're concluding that arc, you're getting a conclusion here, and it's going to be pretty nice. We're probably going to get a lot of lore with this update, so if that's what you're interested in, I think you're going to be having a great time with this. I don't really have too much extra to say. Obviously, this was very cut and dry. I think a little more cut and dry than the original Rift trailer. We've already been to these places. We already know these characters to a degree. Like, we kind of know what's going on. The Hypixel formula is very much there, and it's very much alive. I think people are just going to be excited that there's new content, and obviously that it's going to be, finishing up the Rift here, which I think people are going to be excited for as well. I don't really have much else to say in terms of YouTube, so I'm going to wrap up here. If you enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope you look forward to future videos. Make sure you ring the bell. That's the best way to keep up with content. Use code RAIL in the Hypixel store. And look to the future, fellas, because I will see you then.